All right, everybody, what's going on? And welcome to today's edition of SWAC Talk. Of course, I am your tour guide around the SWAC Seawells coming at you. And hey, happy Valentine's Day to y'all out there, man. I hope y'all spending that time with somebody special. Maybe it's sports, maybe sports is your lady. Maybe SWAC Talk is your boo. So, man, why don't you spend some time with me and then check out the rest of the night with everything else that's going on. So, man, thank you for tuning in first and foremost. Hit those socials. Facebook is SWAC Talk, Instagram SWAC Talk, Twitter SWAC Talk 76. Of course, if you like to show a little love to the show, you get the Cash App $ SWAC Talk. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We are at 825 right now, making our way to 900. When we get to 900, we're working on a little giveaway. So make sure you get in on that. Other than that, man, make sure you hit that notification bell so you can be alerted to when these videos drop. Like the videos, share them, and feel free to comment, man. Before we get started with SWAC basketball, I do want to talk about SWAC basketball, but it's something that's been kind of on my mind, and it is almost symbolic of the way time is today. This rush to crown everybody as the best, this team win a game, they the best team in the league. Nah, they lose, they the worst team in the league. Nah. Let's stop that, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, because first, prime example is my team. Hot first half, but hey, it's an 18-game season, so you're just because you race off to a good start don't necessarily mean you're the best team. Just because you start bad don't mean you're gonna finish bad. You know what I mean? So let's let the season play out, man. I see it every year. It's getting worse and worse. As time goes by, because not everybody, but people really want to kind of rush to be the first one to say that this team is the best when A, they probably never even seen that team play, B, they probably never seen nobody else play. So, it's just one of those things that go on, man. So I just really wanted to get that off my chest because, it's like as I go through the standings and every month, every Tuesday, Monday night, Sunday morning, Saturday night, you see somebody like, that team ain't worth for nothing because they lost. The SWAC is low. The SWAC is very competitive in basketball, man, from top to bottom. Probably only two teams on the women's side are not in contention for the tournament. The men's side is like up for grabs. So to me, there's a team in first place, and they are a very good basketball team. Everybody else is in the mix, man. So it's like you can be fourth today and second tomorrow. You could be third today and eighth tomorrow. You know what I mean? It's like it's just too fluid, man. So we not gonna really know who top dog in the regular season till the season is over. We're not gonna know obviously who is the best in the tournament till the tournament is over. So let's let this play out, man. Let's enjoy the ride. Let's not put so much on who's the best and who's not, because you can be up high today and down tomorrow, as my team can attest to. So, it's a roller coaster, man. So let's just enjoy it, man. Let's, because we only have 3 weeks of SWAC basketball left. So the season is almost over. There's not many games left. So let's let it play out, man. And as we get closer to the tournament, we'll start doing more and more standing breakdowns. We're starting to do a little bit of them here because I like to kind of look at scenarios and stuff. So that's where I stand, man. I just wanted to put that out there, man, because, it's funny to me sometimes to see, somebody say this and then tomorrow they got to, backtrack it because somebody went on the road and got beat down. So let's enjoy the ride, man. And we're going to go ahead and start off with the women's side of things with the weekly honors. The SWAC honors Alabama State's Ayana Emanuel and Alabama A&M's Amaya Simmons for their SWAC women's basketball weekly honors. Emanuel was the player of the week. She had back-to-back impressive outings this past weekend as the Lady Hornets went 2-0 on their road trip with victories over Pine Bluff and Valley. She averaged a league leading 23 points per game to go along with 2 steals in those 2 games. So she definitely was a big scoring factor in both of those victories as the Hornets won 2 on the road. The impact player of the week is Amaya Simmons. She contributed 2 impressive games this past week for Alabama A&M. She had a game-high 25 points and a career-high 18 rebounds. Nice double-double during a win over Valley on Saturday. On Monday, she followed that up with 17 points against Pine Bluff. She missed averaging a double-double just barely, as she averaged 19 and a half rebounds per game. So really good outing for her. And obviously a good outing for Ayana Emanuel. That's one of my favorite players in the league. You know, she's a scorer. I love to see her score the basketball. So nice to see those young ladies get that honor. And we'll see who gets that honor on next Monday after the next weekend. So let's look at the scores from Monday's games. Jackson State beat Bethune-Cookman 77-52. Alcorn beat Pine Bluff 73-67. Excuse me, Alcorn beat FAMU 73-67. Pine Bluff beat Alabama A&M 60-57. Valley lost to Alabama State 66-61. Man, I can't get my numbers right. Prairie View beat Grambling 67-60, and Southern beat Texas Southern 70-52. Before we go any further, man, salute to the Valley Sports announce team, man. Those young people, man, they are doing it, man. They bring you I just love it, man. I'm gonna have to get one of them on my show at some point because they just do their thing, man. So salute to them. Even with a tough season on both sides, they still are very into the game. So like I said, not a lot of close games in yesterday's action. We only had one game that was less than 4 points, and so not a lot of close games on the women's side. Let's look at the standings and see where we stand right now. Jackson State is 12-1, 15-8 overall. They've won 9 straight. Alabama State is 9-4, 12-12 overall. They've won 3 straight. Alabama A&M is 9-4, 11-12 overall. They've lost one. Bethune-Cookman is 9-4 as well, and 10-13 overall. They've lost one. Prairie View 8-5, 11-13 overall. They've won one. Southern 8-5, 11-13 overall. They've won 2 straight. Pine Bluff is 7-6, 9-14 overall. They've won one. Alcorn 6-7 with a 10-14 overall record. They've won one. Grambling 6-7 with a 7-17 overall record. They've lost one. Florida A&M 3-10, 5-19 overall. They've lost 3 straight. Texas Southern 1-12 and 1-23 overall. They've lost 9 straight. And Valley is 0-13 with a 2-22 record. They've lost 16 straight games. So the bottom 2 teams are out. There's, obviously, if you're on a 16-game losing streak, there's no way you're gonna win the rest of your games. And even if you did, you still finish 5-13, which will still keep you out. So Valley is out. Texas Southern is out. FAMU is 3 games behind the 8th place spot, but they haven't really. They're on a 3-game slide, so it's gonna be tough for them to turn it around. And they would have to win. They would probably have to go 8-10, winning their last 5 games to make it. So they are pretty much out. So that leaves Alcorn and Grambling fighting it out for the last spot. And looking at that matchup, Alcorn and Grambling, they will only play once. So that's a very, very important situation in a tiebreaker scenario. Alcorn beat Grambling by 6 on the road, so Alcorn has that tiebreaker. So that's very important. If they finish tied, Alcorn would make it to the SWAC tournament, and Grambling won't if they stay basically in the same spot and stay tied for the 8th spot. So right now, Alcorn is pretty comfortably in that 8th spot, although they still can make some moves. They're only 1 game behind Pine Bluff for the 6th spot. For the 7th spot, they're 7-6. Pine Bluff's only 1 spot behind Prairie View and Southern for the 5th spot. So Pine Bluff beat Southern, so that's a big thing to kind of keep a feather in your hat. you definitely want to keep that, keep that as a, option, because these single game matchups are gonna tell a tale in a lot of these ties and things. So right now, even though Pine Bluff is slightly behind them by one game, they do have a tiebreaker over Southern. They Let's see, have they played Purdue? Purdue and Pine Bluff actually face off on Saturday, so that's definitely a big game for standings. Purdue did beat Pine Bluff the first matchup, so they are holding steady to that lead. So they have a good opportunity to to really distance themselves. And other than that, man, the top three, two, 3, and 4 are basically tied. So that's going to be a log jam that's going to have to be worked out. Um, Alabama A&M and Alabama State will play again, and Bethune-Cookman will also play those two teams again, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so actually this weekend, Bethune-Cookman gets Bama State and Bama A&M. So the second place situation will start to clear up after this weekend. The next 2 weeks will basically kind of start to solve that, as those three teams play each other in these next 2 weeks. So really, really interesting situation. But like I always like to say, if the tournament started today, Jackson State would obviously be the 1 seed, Alcorn be the 2 seed, the 8 seed, so they will play in the first round. Just Alabama State is listed first due to overall record in the standings, so they will be the 2 seed. They will play the 7 seed Pine Bluff, 3. That's where we stand at this point. Obviously, a lot of movement left in the last 5 games. Basically, everybody has a game, at least one game against the teams in front of them, with the exception of some of those single game matchups. So this is going to be a very interesting race, man. I mean, obviously, Jackson State, will have to lose 4 times for somebody to pass them up, which I don't see happening. So you can pretty much pencil them in as the number 1 seed and a regular season champ. So they have their spot. Other than that, man, it's a battle for everything, because, like I said, there's only a 3-game difference between second place and 8th place. So there's still a lot of room for movement, and there's going to be a lot of very good basketball left to play in these next 3 weeks. Let's look at the upcoming schedule for Saturday. Alcorn is at Jackson State. That's a 12:30 tip-off. That's the HBCU game of the day, so make sure y'all check that out. Southern and Grambling hook up at 1 o'clock in Grambling. Pine Bluff and Prairie View play at 3 o'clock in Prairie View. Bethune-Cookman is at Alabama A&M. That's a 3 o'clock tip-off. Valley is at Texas Southern. That's a 3 o'clock tip. And Florida A&M is at Alabama State. That's a 3:30 tip. So very important games for a lot of teams. Alcorn playing Jackson State is always big. Southern and Grambling is always big. Both of those teams need this victory. Pine Bluff and Prairie View is a big game standings-wise. Bethune-Cookman, Alabama A&M, they fighting it out for second place. So that's a huge game. That would probably be the game I would say would be my game of the day to keep a lookout for. Valley and Texas Southern in the bottom bowl, so not much on the line there. And Florida A&M, Alabama State cannot afford to lose to a team that's 3-10. So they want to really keep themselves going for a matchup against Bethune-Cookman on Monday. So there's a lot of basketball, a lot of important games at stake, and we definitely want to keep our eyes on those. So we're gonna jump over to the men's side. The men's side is just as chaotic, if not maybe more, because they're still, nobody's really out of it once you really sit down and go into it. So let's start with the weekly honors for this past weekend. Arkansas Pine Bluff's Chris Green and Texas Southern's Colby Granger were selected for the weekly honors. Green was the player of the week. He posted back-to-back impressive outings this week. For the Golden Lions, he averaged a league leading 22.5 points per game to go with 5.5 rebounds. He shot 58% from the field and 53% from three during Pine Bluff's last two games. So he was definitely hot. He was definitely a hot shooter. The impact player of the week was Granger. He was a key contributor for Texas Southern this past week. He helped lead Texas Southern to a victory over Southern, 79-68. He scored a career-high 29 points while going 5 of 7 from three. For the week, he averaged 6.5 rebounds per game while shooting 67% from the field and 55% from three. So when they needed him, he came up big. Texas Southern definitely needed a win to keep themselves in the race for the last spot. So he definitely came up big there as they went on the road and split their two games. Monday's action on the men's side, Jackson State beat Bethune-Cookman 91-64. Alcorn beat FAMU 67-64. Grambling beat Prairie View 68-64. Pine Bluff lost to Alabama A&M 75-72. Valley beat Alabama State 76-70. And Texas Southern beat Southern 79-68. Let's look at the men's standings and kind of give our thoughts on where things stand right now. Alcorn is first at 11-2, 14-11 overall. They've won 5 in a row. They're hot right now. They really rebounded well from that Southern loss. They haven't lost since then. Grambling is 10-3, 17-8. They have won 4 straight, so they've been pretty hot since they lost to Alcorn. So they lost to Alcorn and hit a streak. Alcorn lost to Southern, hit a streak. Southern beat Alcorn and hit a losing streak. They lost 2 games, then they beat Prairie View on Saturday, then they lost to Texas Southern, so they have lost 1 game right now. They're 9-4 in conference, 13-13 overall. Jackson State is 8-5, 9-17 overall. They've won 3 in a row. Alabama A&M is 7-6, 11-15 overall. They won 2 in a row. Pine Bluff is 6-7, 10-16 overall. They're on a 4-game slide. So when they before they started this slide, they were basically sitting in the mix of the second spot, and now they really started to drop. So they have cooled off at the wrong time. Alabama State is 6-7, 8-18 overall. They've lost 1. Bethune-Cookman is 5-8, 9-17 overall. They've lost 3 in a row. Prairie View is 5-8, 9-17 overall. They've lost 2 in a row. Texas Southern is 5-8, 9-17 overall. They've won 1. FAMU is 3-10, 5-19 overall. They've lost 3 in a row. Valley is 3-10, 4-23 overall. They've won 1. So as you can see, the last place team is 2 games out of the 8th spot. So there's room for a lot of people. Everybody has a shot at the tournament, man. When you look at it that way, everybody has a shot. Right now, Alcorn and Grambling are kind of battling it out for the top spot. Southern pretty much on the outside looking in at this point. They would need Alcorn to lose 2 games, and they would have to win their last 5 games to finish in a tie, which they have the tiebreaker in that. Southern and Grambling play on Saturday, so that's a big game for both of those teams. Grambling can make some more space between them and Southern and keep pace with Alcorn. If they win, Southern can tie themselves back with Grambling if they were to win, and they would have a tiebreaker in that situation because they would have beat Grambling twice if that happened. But, games away from FG Clark Center, and who knows how that's going to turn out. Jackson State at 8-5, they're sitting in a pretty good spot that, with Southern kind of being up and down, they have a chance to make a move. They play Alcorn on Saturday, so that's a big game for them. If they were to find a way to win that game, they can find themselves in a good spot. Maybe even, if they tie with Southern, Southern has a tiebreaker. So for them to finish ahead of Southern, they would need to pass Southern in the standings and have Southern basically lose at least 2 games to pass them. And they would basically have to win out to keep themselves in the spot where they are, maybe to jump up to 3rd. Alabama A&M is sitting in 5th place by themselves. They have a 1-game lead over Pine Bluff and Alabama State. Alabama State and Alabama A&M play next week. So there's a good opportunity for both of those teams. But right now they're battling it out. And Bethune-Cookman, Prairie View, and Texas Southern are all tied for that last spot. Um, who knows? Like I said, Bethune-Cookman's really cooled off. Texas Southern has been up and down. They kind of get they starting to kind of find their form after that rough start. If that's a team, man, if they were to get in at that 8th spot or that 7th spot, I would be nervous as a high seed playing this team because if they can put it together, they know how to win in the tournament. So if they were to get in, they would definitely be a team that I would not want to see in the tournament. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to beat the 1 seed or the 2 seed, but I'm just saying I would definitely be, kind of cautious. Although Grambling did, blow out Texas Southern the last time they played. But, the tournament's a different beast, so we'll see what happens. But FAMU and Valley are still sitting there. They need a little bit of chaos, but they have an opportunity with teams in front of them on losing streaks that can help. Now, FAMU has to stop a losing streak of their own, but they have an opportunity to still stay in it. If they can piece together a win or two and somebody in front of them loses a game or two, then they end up in a better position to move up the ladder. So this is a very tight race, man. Like I said, there's a 6-game difference between first place and 8th place. Now, that doesn't mean a lot because nobody's going to jump from 8th to 1st, but that just shows you how close everything is. Everybody's lost a game. Everybody's lost a game at home. Everybody's, so teams have shown that they can go wherever and beat whoever. So right now it's crunch time. These last 5 games, a lot of big games on the schedule. You're gonna find out what teams are made of at this point. Obviously a mid-season slump is not good, but you want to I always feel like you want to put yourself in a position where you at least 1, 2, or 3. 4 and 5 is a crapshoot to me because a lot of times those teams are tied or they're pretty even. And the 4 seed could have easily been the 5 seed, or vice versa. So, to me, that's a big difference. But this season, you're going to have a lower seed team that's probably going to be as good, or I know that sounds crazy, but you're going to have a lower seed team that can compete with the higher seed teams because the way the season has gone. So this is nothing settled. This is going to be a chaotic tournament. I'm excited for it. Like I said, we still got 5 games left before that, but I'm going to be excited for it. Now, looking at Saturday's schedule, Southern and Grambling, they play in Salt Lake City at the All-Star game. So that game is at 3 o'clock tip-off on ESPN2. So make sure y'all check that out. Alcorn is at Jackson State. HBCU Go game of the day. Big game. Alcorn can really get themselves a nice hold on the lead, especially with the 2 teams behind them playing each other, and they could put some space between them and Jackson with a victory. So that's a big game for them. Jackson State, can win this game and keep themselves in the hunt for a 2 or 3 spot, depending on what happens. Valley at Texas Southern, that game's important now. A few weeks ago that game probably meant nothing. This game, Valley loses this game, they probably are out. I figure 11 or 12 losses, you're gonna be out, no matter how chaotic the season is going. So Valley, they definitely want to keep themselves in the hunt. A loss by Texas Southern wouldn't be detrimental, but you don't want to lose a game like this heading into tournament play. And with the teams directly in front of you on losing streaks, this is your opportunity to even jump into that 8th spot by yourself. So this is a big game for both of those teams, Pine Bluff and Prairie View. Same thing, Prairie View trying to keep themselves in the mix. Pine Bluff is really holding steady to that 6th spot. They're tied with Alabama State right now, so definitely you definitely have a lot on the line in that game. Same thing, Alabama State and FAMU. Alabama State needs this win to keep pace with Pine Bluff or pass them, depending on what Pine Bluff does. So that's big. FAMU needs this win to keep themselves in the mix. Like I said about Valley, 11 or 12 losses is probably going to put you out of the tournament at that point. So You really need to kind of stack up those wins. You don't want to lose games. I mean, nobody loses on purpose, but you don't want to put yourself in a bad position. And Bethune-Cookman and Alabama A&M, again, big game for standings. A&M is sitting in sixth place by themselves. Excuse me, fifth place by themselves. They can solidify that spot, or they can even tie Jackson State, depending on what Jackson State does against Alcorn. So they still have a good opportunity. Bethune-Cookman, I feel like they're hanging on by a thread, man. I know I just said earlier, everybody wants to rush in and put this team out and put that team out. I'll put this team at the top, but Bethune-Cookman's on a 3-game losing streak toward the end of the season, and that's deadly, being in a 3-way tie for the last spot. So they have not been playing really good basketball. They had a close loss to Alcorn, but they played a really bad game against Jackson State on Monday. So they definitely need to find a way to get themselves back on track. So that's a big game. Like I said, every game on the schedule this week is big, and I can say the same thing for the next few games. So the key thing is, with the four top teams playing each other on Saturday, those 4 teams don't play on Monday, so they pretty much will be sitting their spots if they, depending on their outcomes. And I would honestly say you probably can start to kind of really figure out those last spots, those top spots, probably by next week, because there's still a lot of matchups against each other. So with saying all that, Alcorn, like I said, they would be number 1. They would play Bethune-Cookman in the tournament. That was a really entertaining game the last time they played, so that would be an interesting first-round matchup. Grambling would play Alabama State. Pine Bluff would play Southern. And Alabama A&M will play Jackson State. So really, some good matchups if this was to stay like this, but it will not. It will not. It's going to change like crazy on Saturday. So I'm excited for Saturday's action, man. I can't wait to come back on Sunday and talk about it. I'll talk about it all and talk about how, everything's flipped upside down and, man, it's haywire and, this and that. So, man, y'all make sure y'all keep it locked in with us, man. Of course, we got SWAC Smoke coming at you on Thursday, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. We got SWAC Talk coming back at you on Sunday as we recap the Saturday games and do a little bit more standing breakdown. And on, man. Legacy Bowl next week, 25th. We're definitely going to be talking about that as we approach that game. So make sure y'all keep it locked in with us on SWAC Talk. Hit that subscription button. If I like the videos, please hit that like button. And, man, we'll catch y'all on SWAC Smoke. Y'all have a good day, good Valentine's Day, and we out of here.